as much out of what we have to deliver to you today. Having said that, what we are going to do today, to start off with, is we'll do our introductions. But before we do our introductions, I would like to take you through a few ground rules of what we expect of each other, if not from just one person. To start off with, of course, cell phones are obviously on silent, yes. We would rather keep it on silent than on vibrator. You know what the vibrator sound is like, right? And nowadays you have phones whose vibrator sounds are too loud. So it's even more louder than the ringtone also. So let's just either put it off or take off the vibrator. Good. If it's an urgent call, please excuse yourself and you can go ahead and take it out, alright? We will not jail you inside over here. Let's try and keep our time. So when we do have a break, we will have one single break only, alright? But we'll give you a nice long break, so it'll be about 15-20 minutes in between, because it's not a whole day training. If it was a complete day training, we would have had 2 or 3 breaks in the middle. So we'll take probably our first break at around 10:30, 10:45, depending upon how far in the session we've actually reached. If you do want to go into the washroom, so again you can excuse yourself and don't go to sleep in the washroom. Please do come back on time. How would we take the session through is whenever you do have questions about any aspect of what we're trying to talk about, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. If I have the answer, maybe I could answer the question, or maybe someone else in the audience might also help. So we could open it up to a discussion. However, let's try and keep our questions, not open to share opinions over here, but let's now try and put people down, right? So if you want to share your opinion, you're free to do that. However, let's not get too argumentative, if I can say that, right? So please feel free to ask questions, stop me whenever you feel like. It's going to be a very open to and fro discussion that we would be happening over here. It's not going to be an instructor standing here and telling you A, B, C, D, repeat after me A, B, C, D. No, it's not going to be like that. Alright, we have you in a training that is things that you already do. You already do. Customer service is something that you already do, and all we want to do is just refresh your knowledge, take you back to the basics, remind you of things that you already do, remind you of things that are very, very important, and we'll take our session in that. It's so important to set the ground before we actually go forward, so everyone is in agreement as and when we actually go forward, and you're not confused about what we need to be doing. Good. So while we have done that, what we will do is that we will start off with a few introductions. Alright? We'll play a game called the Reporter Game. Has anyone heard of the Reporter Game? The Reporter Game. Alright? We're going to make you reporters now. Alright? You all have a small notepad with you, a small pen with you, so you need to start becoming a reporter. So we all have one person, since we are 10, so we will have a partner. So maybe you two, you two, you two, you two, and you two. Alright? What you need to do? You would need to report something about the other person. So I want you to find out, for instance, her name, job function, likes and challenges in the job, and her hobbies and interests. And then when we finish, you are going to introduce her, and she's going to introduce you, and so on and so forth. Alright? So everyone is going to report back to the entire class about the other person. Alright? You would not get more than 5 minutes to do this activity, and your time starts right now. Feel free to move around. A lot of people saying they have challenges handling customers. Yes? Handling difficult customers. Thank you. I'm sorry?
We are lying. This is one hobby for us.
It's a hobby for you, obviously. I mean, if you wouldn't come into this profession if you didn't like interacting with customers. So at some degree or at some level, I'm sure you look forward to customers, don't you? Alright, you definitely look forward to customers. Imagine a day where you don't have any customers. You might say, oh wow, I would wait for that day. But then when that day comes to an end, you would feel that, hey, something's missing. What happened today? So it's that lifeline that we actually have that actually pumps blood into us. It's that organ that actually makes everything work, and that's our customer. And that's what we are going to be revolving around in today's session. But before I go ahead talking about what we will be doing today, I want you to tell me, what have you come into this session? What objectives have you set for yourself for this session? So could you please let me know what things that you plan to get out of this session, anyone? What do you plan to get out of this session? Anyone? Don't worry about right or wrong answers, as we want to know what you feel, what you want. Yes, Julie.
Is that customer service training at this
Okay,
stage?
so what do you want? Customer service training is a very big,
And
yes, so could you be a bit more specific if you don't mind?
we can handle the customer in a proper way.
So, handling customers, yes? Handling customers. Our objectives are pretty much on the same lines as what you actually came out with, and that's why I like doing this exercise, so that we are all on the same page as to your requirements from the session and what we have to offer all of you too. So our aim and objectives is going to start off with effective communication with customers, alright? Effective communication with customers. We'll also talk about dealing with customer queries, alright? So that's going to have our communication part over there, how to deal with their queries, and they come up with a whole lot of different queries at any point of time. We'll also learn how to handle difficult customers, alright? That's important, and a lot of you have said that's been one of your biggest challenges, so we'll focus on that. We have a nice little video to share with you also, alright, so look forward to that. And lastly, we want to build lasting relationships, alright, and especially in today's climate, economic climate, where the current real estate business is not as what it was, you know, a few years ago. This becomes so very important. Customers trust, and customers being reliable on you is the most important thing, and this is what is going to differentiate us from the very next real estate developer. Alright, having trust and reliability is a very big thing now in our businesses that we serve. So we learn how to build lasting relationships. MR spends a lot of money on advertising and marketing, and they go to far off places in the world like China and Russia, and you even have MR people advertising and marketing over your millions of dirhams. But at the end of the day, there is one form of advertising and one form of marketing that doesn't cost any money, but it has a much bigger reach than anything else. Any ideas what that form of marketing is?
Satisfied customer.
So what does a satisfied customer do?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, thank you. The word of mouth is so very strong. So all that happens is that if I as a customer go in and get a very good service, I come and talk to Shireen about it. Alright, I'm only not talking to Shireen because statistics say a satisfied customer is going to speak on a minimum to 8 people. Alright, so I'm going to talk to 8 people. It's not going to stop over there. Those 8 people are going to talk to another 8, so it becomes 16, 32 and 64. I can't count any more than that. But then that's what word of mouth actually does. But mind you, it works positively for us and also negatively for us also. So if I have that same bad experience, I'll talk to Shireen about that bad experience, and she again talks to 8 people about the bad experience. So it works for us and works against us also. How do we get that? Through building those relationships. So let's ensure every opportunity we actually get, we ensure we are actually building relationships, because they are going to push the word forward as to, wow, I had an interaction with the MR staff and this is what I got as service. So let's give them something more than what they pay for. Okay? And it's something that we can anyway give as part of our jobs. Alright? Servicing a customer is part of our jobs. But if we do it very well, there you go, we build a lasting relationship. Good. I would like to start off with a small game. Alright? A small little game for which I need 2 volunteers. I need 2 volunteers. Alright? It's a fun game. I can assure you that much. It's a very fun game. Who's going to be our volunteers? 2 volunteers. Very good, Edna. Very good. Give her a big hand, guys. Edna's one volunteer.
Can I choose somebody?
You know what? That's a great idea, because I don't think anyone else is going to come up. Who? Why are you choosing her? Tell us, Edna.
Because I know she won't want to get up.
Perfect! I love that. I love that. Edna, you're going to be my #1 volunteer for all the activities. Okay. Good. So we have Edna and we have Maria. Right? Okay, good.
You don't have to dance.
Now you cannot go back.
No, it's okay. Mohammed is the one who's going to dance.
We will keep that for the last. Keep the best for the last. Good. Now, out of you all both, I want you both to choose a position. There's one position, yes, and here is one position.
What
Yeah,
position?
that's fine, I think.
There is one position and there is one position. Choose a position.
Near these.
That flip
writing
chart
pads.
is one
Yeah.
position and here is one
I'll
position.
go there.
Go ahead. Okay.
And
And Maria, you are here with me. Yes.
Is it on video?
Do we have some markers over there? All right. Okay.
So we have to do some writing, yeah?
Kind of. What's going to happen, Edna, is that Maria is going to give you some instructions. All right? And during the whole activity, you're going to have your back turned to all of us.
Okay.
You cannot look this side until you're told to look this side.
Alright.
Okay, and Maria is going to give you a few instructions, and then you can take it from there. All right. So you need to. So can I ask you to turn your back right
Do I
now?
have to
Keep
turn
two
right?
markers with you,
Yeah.
just in case.
I think these are close.
And I'll have Kishore be the policeman to check if you are turning back or not. Yes, he will jail you if you do that. All right. Good, Maria. You have a nice, interesting task to do. All right. There you. She's already. Hey, police! What do I pay you for? She's already looking this
I
side.
always told him.
You cannot look anymore. All right. All right, Maria. This is what we're going to do. Maria, this is a picture for you. If you can notice, just a second. Not this. You have a picture over there, Maria. All right. All of you have a part to play in this game also, but I will tell you when your part starts. Okay, Maria. You can see this picture. Edna cannot see this picture. Right? You have 5 minutes, right, to make Edna draw the very same picture on her flip chart. Okay? So you say whatever, and of course you can only use your verbal communication. What else can she use at the moment? Yes? You cannot see her, by the way. Your back is also turned. Okay? So you cannot see what she's doing. So you all are just talking to each other. I want you to make her recreate the same picture on her flip chart. Okay? And you guys will have a task to do. I will tell you when you actually come in. But you have 5 minutes to do this. Your time starts now, Maria.
Just a second. Can I tell her the
You
object?
tell her whatever you want to tell her. You cannot look back. Start.
Okay, started na. Just draw a car. There's 2 wheels. One wheel is small. Then the wheel at the back is big. Write it. It's a car with without without cover. And
Quick.
it's like a train. Just draw a
You
chimney.
get bonus points if you finish fast. Guys,
Draw a chimney with smoke and what else? Only one seat.
Oh God, where do I make my seats? I'm bad in drawing.
What else? Yeah, a chimney are two wheels. One wheel is small. One
wheels
is
are half.
big. The back is
Big.
Okay, at the top of the one big wheel, that's the chair. That's the seat. The seat is there.
Chair here.
Without cover, Edna, don't put cover.
keep looking over here. Guys, now you all can help her draw the picture also. Y'all can help now.
I can.
Y'all can help, so you are part of the team, yes.
Okay, fine. In Punjab, in खेतों में जो रहता है ना,
Yeah,
in Punjab.
No, you can say the word if you want. No one stop you from say the word.
Understand, no?
You can say the word.
Okay.
Everyone, please help.
Tractor.
Please help.
Tractor.
All of
There
you
is
help.
one. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. ऊपर जो
यहाँ पे आदमी है यार.
smoke के लिए.
We will talk in English only,
ए,
please.
इधर है.
There is one seat, one driver seat.
हाँ, आदमी है
And one,
उधर.
in front of that,
No.
pipe is, you know.
हाँ, वो डाल दिया ना मैंने. इधर आगे से जा.
One more minute, only. One more minute to help Edna recreate that. All you guys can jump in. I don't know why you're allowing him. He's making a mess of it.
खत्म हो गया अभी.
You mix it.
Come on, guys, help her out. Help her out.
हो गया अभी और कुछ नहीं कर सकते.
I just draw two circles. One is small.
Yeah, one
Another,
circle.
another.
One more circle.
Two circles only. One is small. One is.
Finish. Time up.
Yes, stop. Ladies, turn and look at each other's creations.
This is big. This is small. Here is the seat and here is the.
Where is the small one?
It looks very same, Edna, I think so. Very similar.
Like the same also.
Very similar.
First it was a car, so I cancelled it.
If that was a
Without
cartoon,
cover,
yeah, it would
without
look
cover,
very
yes.
similar.
As soon as I drew the ball, she said there is no cover on the top, and she kept emphasizing there is no cover on the top. So I thought maybe it's a train. So then she said one wheel is big and the other one is small. So I just
Okay.
tried to picture something
Okay.
that looked. And then when Mohammed popped in, he said something like in Punjab. Then
This is
tractor
our
thing came.
Indian vocabulary, you know,
Yeah,
especially.
tractor came to the mind, but then it was too late to make any more changes. And
Alright,
I
perfect.
didn't.
So you thought it was easier when everyone else came in?
Not really. Maybe if Maria would have.
What if Mr. Mohammed started talking about what he was talking from the beginning?
Then it would have been easier.
It would have been
okay.
easier.
Only one word I.
But why do you think it would have been
No,
easier?
Why I
No,
said that is.
Because she used the word tractor, so when
That's the name of
Maria did not use the word tractor, she said car.
So what was the difference between Maria's and his interaction.
This is
So you have a picture of a tractor in your mind and you know what a tractor looks like, and a car, you know how a car looks with.
Yes,
This
but
is
what
like-
information did Mohammed have that Maria did not have?
Can I?
Mom,
Okay, because this is like, this is, I can say this is Indian vehicle.
So
It's
forget
not-
about the
not-
Indian
no,
vehicle
no,
and
no,
tractor.
she-
Talking
she
about the
not-
image, you know, there's no
That's
image.
why she don't know what is, actually what is that, she don't know first
Okay.
of all.
well,
Okay.
Mohammed
The
was
main
more
thing is she
precise.
don't know what is the car or train or like.
But how do you know if she already drew a tractor or not?
Exactly.
You can see, exactly, you could see that and you could see that,
That's correct.
right? So knowing a tractor or not a tractor was not the main part over
The
here.
pain,
Your main part was you actually could see both.
That's correct.
All
That's
right.
clear.
What was Maria's handicap over here?
She didn't know that.
She could not see that. Alright? So communication is not about what you tell the person. Alright? Because Maria was trying to tell her about a tractor and she was doing a good job.
Yeah.
You thought that you were doing a good job, Maria, right?
Yes.
And you thought, come on, how easy is this? Edna can definitely draw this if I tell it to her. But what happened over there was something else. A nice little circus vehicle was drawn over there. But the rest of us actually could see both sides of the coin. Yes, communication is the both sides of the coin. It's not only one side. Alright? Did Edna ask you enough questions, Maria?
No, actually. No. Actually. You didn't
Yes or no?
ask
I'm not
me.
subtle. I
You
just
didn't
asking you a question. Yeah.
ask. You didn't ask.
She didn't ask any questions. Do you think that would have helped you, Edna?
Maybe I should have.
Oh.
I didn't know that I would ask questions.
I
but
didn't tell you you couldn't.
Yeah,
Listening becomes so important, isn't it? Right? Asking questions
Listening is very important.
and confirming what you actually have is such an important part of communication, isn't it? See, these small things are things that we overlook. And I like these activities that actually bring out these small things that, hey, you know what? I actually forgot to do that. Do you think sometimes we forget to ask customers questions?
Yes.
Yes, it's so important, especially in this big multicultural place that we actually work in, where so many different cultures, so many different nationalities, so many different languages. Sometimes communications is lost. Yes, lost in transit somewhere. You want to say something, but something else is meant to her. Maybe a cultural difference, yes. Maybe she understands what a tractor is, maybe you do not know what a tractor is, all right? Maybe for you, you know what a steering wheel looks like. For her, steering wheel is something else, all right? So whose responsibility is communication? Whose responsibility is to get communication right? Whose responsibility does it lie on? To get the communication right. So right now I'm communicating with you, okay? Whose responsibility is it for you to understand what I'm saying?
Yours.
It's mine. It's mine. I cannot say, why are you looking at me like that, Julie? Don't you understand what I'm saying? It's so easy what I'm saying. Can't you understand? No, it's not her responsibility. It's my responsibility. Just as when we are communicating with our customers, it's not their responsibility to understand us or not. If they are not understanding us, it's because we are not trying hard enough to make them understand. All right? It's always the sender's responsibility. And that puts a very big burden on our shoulders. If we want to get our communication right, we have got to do it. We have got to do it. So, if I ask you to define communication, what would you like to define communication as? What is communication to you? What is plain communication? For instance, we are having communication right now. What would you do?
Process, one speaks, one
A two-way process, one speaking, one listening. Very good. Anything to add to that? A two-way process.
It's an exchange of skills, ideas.
Exchange of ideas. So it's not only communication, right? Julie, it's not only talking, it's also communicating ideas. If I smile at you, am I communicating something to you? I'm communicating something that I want to be pleasant. Right? So that's why I smile at you. If I frown at you, am I communicating something? I am communicating something. So it's not only words, it's also thoughts, ideas, but it's got to be to and fro. I cannot be standing in front of the wall and communicating, all right? Because you cannot communicate with the wall. So communication, as you actually said, is pretty much simple over here. The passing of meaningful messages between people. And those messages can happen either through our verbal communication or non-verbal communication. But at the end of the day, communication is not what you say, but it's what you achieve. Right? She thought she was saying the right thing. But what did she achieve was something else altogether. Alright? Is communication successful or not always depends upon the end result. I tried my best is what I hear everyone saying. He did not understand me, but I tried my best. No, you did not try your best, because if you did try your best, he would have understood. You keep on reinventing yourself. You keep on changing your communication. You never ever give up, because the onus of communicating, of making the other person understand you, is on yourself and not on the other person. Alright? So let's start looking at communication in a completely different perspective. Alright? It's our responsibility now. But obviously it's not simple, is it? It's not simple. Like with these two ladies, it was not simple. If it was simple, she would have got it done in 2 minutes flat. But it's not simple. What are the obstacles that we find in communication, if I might ask you? If you have any challenges in communication, what would they be? Any barriers, if I can say? What would be the barriers to communication? Do you foresee any barriers? Put yourself back in your counters. Yes, go ahead, Julie. Language barriers is a very big barrier, especially for us staying and working over here, right? So there's a language barrier. Anything else we see? Any other barriers other than language? Language is one of the biggest barriers, by the way, isn't it? Any other barriers you foresee? Maybe sometimes some things that you overlook. What about those questioning some of stuff, not asking enough questions? Yes? So do you think that's a barrier, that we don't ask enough questions? Any other barriers you see? Listening is a barrier. Perfect. And we all know this is a big improvement that we can all keep making. Listening. Of course, these are linked, right? And when the person is, we all speak English in this room, all right? But we all speak different levels of English, right? We all speak English, but we all speak English very, very differently. Who's right and who's wrong, we are not here to judge. It's just different. And in this climate, listening to that other person speaking English becomes so very difficult. Now we are very used to maybe an Egyptian speaking English, a Filipino, an Indian, a Pakistani. Now we are used to it. How about the first time you came to this country? Was it easy for you to understand the other person's English? Probably was a big barrier. But now we've been working with these people every day. We've got used to it, right? But it's definitely a barrier, especially for a customer who comes to you for the first time, hasn't interacted with you from your country talking English. It would become a barrier, wouldn't it? Right? Any other barriers in communication? Any other traps we foresee in this communication?
Lack of knowledge of the subject.
Very good. So we're talking about product knowledge, maybe we can call it. Yes. Product knowledge, product or technical knowledge, okay.